Okay, next topic is Mikel Arteta and his antics on the sideline when Arsenal took on Newcastle. And let's be honest, not just that game. We've seen plenty of this season. In fact, it's riled Mark Ogden a little bit. He's put out a tweet saying, Arteta needs to keep his head better than this if Arsenal are to win the title. It's only January. The tension hasn't even started yet. Can I just draw your attention to 1.9 million views? I think he got 1.8 million of those views are from people who are very, very annoyed at what Mark Ogden has had to say here.
That's the wrath of Arsenal social media, okay?
You know what? I actually love it. I love to see this type of drama on the sidelines and what it causes, and this explosion, like these explosions on the sidelines. And, you know, it got Eddie Howe really riled up as well. And I know that's not maybe the right thing to say. And it's not like in keep with, oh, it should be calm and everybody should be friends. But I do miss a bit of this drama in the Premier League. What about you, Luis?
Yes, absolutely. You know how much I love Mark Ogden, Augie, but this is a very English way of reacting to this. Come on, you want to see passion. Can I remind everybody that, you know, the likes of Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola, the two most successful managers in recent history in the Premier League, also do this. Look, I understand, and there is a balance and a difference between passion and carelessness. But I think part of the reason why Arsenal are doing so well is because you're seeing this fire and this passion from the likes of Mikel Arteta. Yes, it's not always going to be pretty to watch, and sometimes you really have to watch yourself, but I don't think it's any deterrent on how Arsenal will do. If anything, it's going to help. Again, it depends on how you value that and the difference between passion and being careless. But may I remind you, even going back in history, the likes of people like Janusz, Michels, they would get absolutely insane on the sideline, and they still create winners. So to me, keep it going, Mikel Arteta. Maybe it's because I'm Peruvian and I'm South American, and I just want to see some fire every single day, but there's nothing here. Augie, I love you, but I totally disagree.
Well, Arteta's got a lot of previous in this, hasn't he? Especially when he was an assistant at Manchester City as well. We'd see him getting stuck in the tunnel sometimes. Where do you stand on it, Rob? Are you with Mark Ogden, or are you with us that we love a bit of passion on the sidelines?
No, I'm sorry, Augie, I'm with you. I don't mind it. I mean, as long as, you know, Luis is right, as long as there is a line and as long as the respect is maintained, particularly with officials, and they're treated with the respect that they deserve. Because obviously, you know, these games are getting beamed around the world, and there are young kids and you know, parents of young footballers watching these games. As long as that line isn't crossed, I think it's fine. And I think it just shows that Mikel Arteta genuinely believes that his team are right in this title race and can win that title. You know, the pressure, even in January, is massive. And I don't mind it at all, especially, you know, in the middle of a 0-0 draw when you're trying to nick an odd goal for what would have been a massive victory. I imagine if you're an Arsenal player and you look over and you see your manager ranting and raving on the sideline, showing that passion, showing that fire, there's got to be something a little bit inside you that thinks, oh, you know, we could do with a bit of that as well. And I just don't mind it at all. As long as that line is not crossed, which I think is very important, I don't mind it at all. So, you know, carry on, Mikel.
Janusz?
Yeah, I think, you know, I mean, I don't mind it, I suppose. I have to agree. But, you know, we have to remember that all of this is still very new to Mikel Arteta and to Arsenal Football Club. I mean, he's learning as he's going, right? I mean, 2 years ago or 3 years ago when they finished 8th in both of those seasons, I'm pretty sure that this whole panel had Arteta gone, right? And that includes myself, of course. That project's taken too long. It's not going to do it. He's inexperienced and all of that. And maybe we were right. I mean, they weren't playing great, but now it's different. And I think he senses that. And was there a certain amount of pressure on him in that game? Probably. Because it was a pressure game. Newcastle are great, best defense in the league. Arsenal are second in that one. Obviously, they were time wasting just a little bit. He felt there were a couple penalties that should have been given. And perhaps he's going to learn from that because maybe he did lose his head just a little bit. But I think we always knew that he's been a passionate player. He's learned under Pep Guardiola, who's also very passionate. Of course, as you guys mentioned, I mean, you look at Jurgen Klopp, you look at Antonio Conte. Sometimes you have to help yourself a little bit, right? Sir Alex Ferguson was the best of that. He knew how to push certain buttons. And in order to win the league, in order to be up there with the best, you have to know how to manipulate the system as well a little bit. And maybe that was part of that. So I think in general, I don't think I disagree with one view or the other, but I do think that he probably reflected on it in some way. And we'll see if he continues to be kind of rather quiet, which he has been, or we're going to see that from time to time. I bet that in those big games, you know, something like that comes out because he's a winner.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.